Why be negative when times are good? Why be negative when times are poor? Why be negative when you are glad? Why be negative when you are sad? The key to life is The key to life is
Hello and welcome to Positivity Always. I am Pablo Alsina here in our beautiful studios in West Hollywood, California. I've lived in WeHo for close to 13 years. Awesome place to live. It's just kind of hard to sleep sometimes because you're always hearing woo, 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 woo. But no, it's not the alarms. It's just a couple of guys walking down the street going woo, 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 woo. We start with a little joke, a little humor, and yes, I love West Hollywood, California, but for the professional jokes, we have a great guest here today with us. More professional comedy. My guest, a longtime WeHo native, who's also been born and raised in Southern California, the one and only Earl Skakel with us today. Earl, first of all, did you like the delivery of my joke?
Let's put it this way, I've heard worse. It was actually a funny joke, and especially if you live in West Hollywood, you get the joke.
Yeah, and if you don't live in West Hollywood, I suggest you visit West Hollywood. It's always fun time. So what has living in West Hollywood meant to you, Earl?
I mean, it's definitely was a change of pace for me, but before West Hollywood, I lived in a 21-story building in Century City, and my neighbor was the original girl from King Kong.
Okay.
Fay Wray. So, my neighbors now are not the original girl from King Kong.
Now, let's talk comedy. You close out Saturday nights at the Comedy Store. I got to see his set this past Saturday. Ovation nonstop. As soon as you walked in, they were clapping. They were crazy. Actually, last Saturday was funny. You got the wrong intro for you, Earl. How does that affect you when you were all ready to go and they gave you the wrong intro?
I mean, it was it's like an offsides playing football. For those of you who weren't there, Trevor Wallace, who's a very funny comic, was supposed to go on before me. He was late, but the comic on stage didn't know that. So he brings me up to Trevor Wallace's intro, and the crowd was like, this ain't Trevor Wallace. So it was a rough start because they were expecting someone else, but I've been doing it for 25 years, so there's not too much that throws me.
So let's talk about that. That's 2.5 decades you've been a stand-up comedian. When you were young, did you know that's what you wanted to be, or how did you segue off to being a stand-up comedian?
Well, the first, and it might be the most genuine laugh I'll ever get in my life, was the 4th grade play. It was just one line, and I've been chasing that laughter ever since. I mean, it's like a heroin addict, they say, chases that first high. I've been chasing that laugh I got in the 4th grade play till this Saturday at the Comedy Store.
But you've also been a writer, an actor, 16 credits on IMDb. You're also voiceover talent. If you had to choose one, it'd still be stand-up comedy, though, right?
Well, I had so much fun working for Tyler, the Creator. I was the only white guy on this cartoon. I played the father in an all-black cartoon.
What's the name of the cartoon?
It's called The Jellies.
Nice.
It's on 3 networks, HBO Max, Adult Swim, and the Cartoon Network. And Tyler was just a dream to work for. Sometimes in the world of comedy, I have to work with people who are a nightmare to work for. So I actually would prefer voiceovers just because my voice is so deep that it's a very easy job for me to do. I'm not asked to go high, low. I mean, I can do a high voice, but I'm not going to get paid for it. So
and also voiceovers, you can dress like this and be, you can be in shorts, chilling.
I apologize for my
No,
dress.
I love it. See, this is what this show's about. Come as you wish, comfortable, doesn't matter. And I love that you're here, Earl. Earl, back to your 21-story high-rise, because I heard one of your jokes about the King Kong original woman.
Right.
And I love that moment. Was that a real situation that happened?
That was a real story. So in '94, there was the Northridge earthquake, and the thing I never realized is if you live in a 21-story building and it was built before 1974, you don't have like an actual foundation. You're on what's called rollers. So when the quake hit, the building just sways back and forth. It was very scary. And security had called me and said, hey, you got to get Faye out. I'm like, why me? I mean, I thought the building was going to collapse. And they were like, well, she's the only one that feels comfortable with you. And it was 4 a.m.
How old was she there, so the people at home that may not know who we're speaking about?
I'm going to guess 85.
Okay.
So if you've ever seen the movie King Kong,
Yeah.
she's the girl. And so I opened up her door, and she was crying, and I thought, this is my shot to see if I'm funny. And she's like, Earl, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. We got to get out of here. I'm like, hey, Faye, I think he's coming back for you, because the building was going like that. And she didn't laugh, to be honest with you. So she just said, take me downstairs, man. So it was a wild building to live in. The drummer from Guns N' Roses lived there, and he jumped off the balcony during this earthquake, but he lived on the
to save himself.
Yeah, but he
Okay.
lived on the first floor, so he was going to make it, and just a lot of frankly escorts and the owner of the LA Kings hockey team who went bankrupt. I mean, it was a sitcom in the making.
Gotta write that 1980 style sitcom with a Guns N' Roses
You had
musician. You got the actress from King Kong. You got something there.
prostitutes, O.J. Simpson's friend Faye Resnick. So there's a little bit of that thrown in. It really was a building. Get Smart, the actor. If you're an older person, you remember the TV show Get Smart.
Love Get Smart.
I
love the phone. Where his phone, his shoe was a phone, cutting edge.
I was in the elevator with him once, and he looked pretty miserable. So I thought, here's my second chance to see if I'm funny enough. I said, hey, Mr. Smart, can I borrow your shoe? I got to make a call. And he just looked at me and told me to F off.
No.
Yeah, he didn't say F.
Wow, I love that show. He seemed like such a nice guy. See, that's what's wrong. Sometimes you meet our heroes and they break your heart a little bit. Do you ever have a story like that? Somebody famous who you met who, besides Get Smart, who...
Yeah, I do actually. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. And so to me, the movie Enter the Dragon is like the Star Wars of karate movies. And there was an actor who played the gambler who was in debt, so he had to go in that tournament to fight John Saxon. And I saw him in Beverly Hills one day, and I was kind of starstruck because Enter the Dragon means so much to me. And I asked him for an autograph, and he said in a tone drier than mine, I don't have the time. Like, I understand if you go up to Tom Cruise, he's probably pretty busy. John Saxon hadn't worked in a while. He had the time, trust me. So that's ruined almost my anticipation of meeting any celebrity now, because I'm scared they're going to do that.
I've worked in TV a lot, so I don't get starstruck often, but I don't mind it sometimes. Like, I met Bruce Willis like 10 years ago, and shout out Bruce Willis, wish him all the best. Love Bruce Willis. So I go up to him, I'm like, Bruce, I never do this ever, but you're like an idol. My wife liked me because I sort of resembled you.
Right.
Can I get a selfie? And Bruce just looked at me and looked away. Just complete. And I was like, yes, I like him even more that he didn't want to do that for me. But that's like one of the few people I actually asked for a selfie.
I mean, I rarely get starstruck because at the Comedy Store, there's always someone famous up there.
You opened for Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
What was it like for opening for Dave Chappelle?
It was very scary because the whole crowd was there to see him. So I knew I had one joke to get them or they were going to tune me out. I don't know if I can say the joke I said on this channel, but it's the perfect joke to use if you're going to open up for someone super, super famous. It's a fail-proof joke.
Oh, now I want to hear the joke. Is there a clean version that we can say
There
the joke?
really isn't.
There isn't?
I mean...
what if you put out your Instagram and then, people can go there?
Okay, yeah, I mean, the best thing about me is it's the only smart thing I've done.
We have bosses watching. Getting word right now that we are allowed to go a little risque with the comedy here. It is public access. We can say whatever we like. So we all want to hear, I got texts, people phoning in. We want to hear the joke that you opened up for Dave Chappelle with. Set it up again.
Well, in context, there's 400 people in the main room, maybe a bit more than that, because once Chappelle shows up, like people start texting and tweeting and just people show up. So I knew I had one joke to get them. I would not get a second joke if the first joke doesn't do well. So I walk out on stage with the ambiance of Ric Flair and Vince McMahon.
Nice.
And I was like, guys, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing too. How does he open up for Dave Chappelle? And I'm like, I finally feel how it feels for the Asian guy to open up for the black guy in a gangbang. and I got an applause break. And these were not Earl Skakel fans. These were Dave Chappelle fans. And after that, I was God to them. Because, they respect the fact that this guy's got balls to come up here in a room where not one person knows who he is. And he won us over as fans.
And you deliver with a strong, risque, funny, hilarious joke, and boom, you had him. Did Dave Chappelle talk to you afterwards? What's Dave Chappelle like?
Dave Chappelle's awesome because I talk to him not about, Dave, I'm such a fan. I treat him like we're talking right now. And his mentor, someone who taught him the art of stand-up, was a African-American comic by the name of Charlie Barnett. And very few people would know who Charlie Barnett is in this generation, but he was essentially the Chappelle of the mid-'80s. And he just made a couple wrong decisions. He was on Miami Vice as a recurring character, and he would one day tell Don Johnson to F off. And, when he's the star of the show, you don't do that. And the really sad story about him real fast, and it'll explain why Chappelle likes me so much, is Charlie Barnett auditioned for SNL. He got to every round. He was the funniest person. So the final audition, he was told, hey, you're going to have to read off of cue cards. And he couldn't read. So he just skipped the audition, and Eddie Murphy got his part.
Whoa.
And so when I talked to Chappelle about that, I could tell he really appreciates that I'm not just asking him for help or, being a fanboy in front of him. We have a real human discussion, and he loves that. I don't think he gets that a lot from people.
Something tells me Eddie Murphy would have gotten the part eventually also. Love Eddie Murphy, another one of my favorite comedians. Favorite comedian of all time for Earl Skakel?
That's a tough one because
Shoot him fast. Which is your favorite?
Archie Bunker.
Okay.
Who wasn't a typical... I grew up more with TV shows and stand-up.
Okay.
So All in the Family was really my first comic influence, along with a very little-known show called The White Shadow, which was an hour-long drama about a white coach in the ghetto coaching black kids. And it was a drama, but they sprinkled in humor that I really enjoyed. So that's kind of what my humor is now. It's inappropriateness mixed with funny.
I don't think you go by book always.
No.
There's lots of comedians that do, but Earl just starts winging it. Last Saturday again, somebody mentioned the shirt he was wearing, so he just unleashed a 15-minute monologue on shirts. You ended up pulling down your pants. I saw your big chew underwear. I thought that vibe of you being improv and comedy, that's something that I always wanted to do. Even as a reporter, when I interview people, I would never go in order. I would listen to what they were saying and just bounce off of them. As a comedian, I'd like to do the same type of thing. Is that something that you take pride in?
It is, because I'm a big football fan, and if you remember the San Francisco 49ers in the Bill Walsh era, their first 15 plays were scripted, and they would do them no matter what the defense was doing. You can't do that in comedy. I couldn't have walked out there that night, especially with the botched intro, and just went right into joke one. Okay, tell joke two. You have to, because when you go on last at the Comedy Store, you're going on after 10 to 15 comics, and the crowd's heard every joke, they've heard every question, they've heard every Trump joke, every Democratic joke, they've heard every kind of crowd work, where you're from, so you can't go in there with a set list. You have to be able to improvise and adapt, or it's not going to be a fun set for you or the audience.
And you also have to be listening to the other comedians to see what jokes they said, so you don't, follow the same track. But it's something tells me Earl's comedy is not the same as most comedians. So Earl, for people that don't know you, how would you describe Earl Skakel's comedy?
It's dry, it's very dark, very sarcastic. I make fun of things. I have a joke about Gavin Newsom where I like to do swerves in a joke. Like, I'm a pro wrestling fan, so I love it in pro wrestling when you're watching a story and you don't see the angle coming. I have a joke where I start off by going, and it gets the room dead quiet. I'd like to thank our governor, Gavin Newsom, and instantly the room goes quiet, for allowing the homeless gentleman outside my condo to build a 7-story tent. And they don't see that angle, and they laugh. So I like to do jokes like that. And, my jokes are simple. Like, you listen to a George Carlin bit, you got to really listen and go, what's he talking about? I don't think anyone gets confused when I'm doing comedy.
You mentioned my favorite comedian of all time, George Carlin. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
His thought-provoking comedy, taking different topics and generations and putting it in your face, like, look, this is my point of view,
Right.
and kind of laughing about it. Nowadays, you make those same comments, you might get blacklisted. It's kind of hard. How do you see comedy in today's day and age?
I mean, it is, there's a lot of woke comics who pander to the audience. I am not one of them. But you do have to be careful. I mean, now in comedy clubs, I think what's great is that they put your phones in what's called a yonder bag.
Love the yonder bag.
Which, for those of you, I didn't know what it was. It's basically you put your phone in this bag and it locks. So you can't film anyone, you can't record anyone. So I think comics feel very free to say what they want. Now, sometimes that's bad because they say a lot of unfunny things. They'll just say a bad word or whatnot because they think, oh, I can say it. Ultimately, there has to be funny behind the word. Like you saw what happened with the Michael Richards, many years ago at the Laugh Factory. There wasn't one funny thing about that.
Let's keep it on positivity always, because
Right.
yeah, there was nothing funny about that. Now I think the yonder bags, they should have that at gyms, because now you go to gyms and people are on their phones all the time. They're in the sauna talking on the phone or video phones. No, people, put the phones away.
I think they should do that at concerts. I saw AC/DC at the Rose Bowl.
Yes, everybody's like this.
And it was just like, you got to kind of duck around the person. I get you want to record this amazing, 80,000 people event, and it'll probably be the last time AC/DC ever plays in, Southern California, because they're pretty old. I mean, even the replacement players in this band are old. But it's just like, it ruined my evening, because you're just like, after a while, I just took out my phone and started recording the guy in front of me. So.
And by the way, people film and then they never watch those videos ever again in their lives, and they're all blurry.
They put it up on YouTube and they think I'm going to be famous because I got 200 views of AC/DC singing "You Shook Me All Night Long."
Hey, if we get 2 views from this show, it'll be 2 more than I need, because I don't do the show for the views. I do it for the great conversations with awesome people. Earl Skakel, what final closing thoughts of positivity do you have for people out there that might be having some rough go in life, and they have to try to stay positive?
Well, I'm the poster boy in the comedy world of persistence, because I'm probably in the worst category you could be in, middle-aged white guy, who's just kind of semi-normal looking. Like I'm not super good looking, I'm not a complete gargoyle either, but in comedy you have to stand out. You either have to be different looking or something unique about you,
Or the energy guy. There's always the energy guy.
And I'm not that. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty low energy. But you just have to believe in yourself. And I've been turned down more than any actor or comic in the world, because not only do I get turned down in stand-up gigs, but also voiceover gigs. Because in the voiceover world, I'm in a very unique category of booming, deep baritone voices. And there's only about 10 of us that work. And we all work, I was going out on auditions with Darth Vader. Now, he's offered the job. He doesn't have to audition. And you just keep going, and you get what you get, and you just have to believe in yourself. You have to be delusional, but within reason. Like, it would not be believable if I said to myself at the age of 56, I could play in the NBA, being 6'1", and no vertical leap. But in voiceovers and comedy, I'm good at that. So you have to have alligator skin, and don't listen to anybody who's not better off than you are.
Boom. Earl Skakel. I am Pablo Alsina. Thank you to Adeli Said, the technical director, and Peter Levine for running camera and running this beautiful, beautiful studio. Positivity always with Pablo Alsina. Until next time.
Why be negative when times are good? Why be negative when times are poor? Why be negative when you are glad? Why be negative when you are sad? The key to life is, the key to life is positivity always. Be a shining light for you and I. Positivity always. The key to life. The key to life. Positivity always. Let God be your shining light. Search what's true inside. Be proud. Be strong when all goes wrong. Be humble, be kind when all goes right. The key to life, positivity always. Positivity always. Positivity always. Be a shining light for you and I. Positivity always. Always. The key to life. Positivity doesn't mean to only search for what makes you happy. Positivity means despite what you see, trust it's meant to be. Trust the good in all and you will see. Hurtful times will come, just let them be. Keep your eyes on your destiny, run your race with God's good grace. It's a beautiful play, make sure to stay firm when the world shakes. Stay in faith when it makes no sense. When you don't know what is going on, when you don't know what to do, turn to God and ask for Him to guide you. Seek and you shall find the key to life. Positivity always. Positivity always. Be a shining light for you and I. Positivity always. The key to life. The key to life. Positivity always. Let God be your shining light. And now it's time for Positivity Always with Pablo Alsina.